Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Gemini energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row is going to be high vibe Gemini energy. The bottom row is going to be a more worldly, shadowy Gemini energy. We've all got our dualistic nature. Some people could be battling within themselves. In high vibe Gemini energy, we've healed, we've grown, we've matured, we are tired of our life. We've come into some insight and understanding about something that makes us feel like we want to live our life differently. Just how we view life, you know, motivated and inspired, or maybe before we weren't motivated and inspired. And sometimes, though, some people are really still battling within themselves because it's hard to change your life. Sometimes you're changing habits and patterns, or jobs, or friendships, or romantic relationships. All of those things, it's hard to do change, and our fears and our insecurities bubble up. So some people are in that phase, and we'll kind of look at it from that perspective. But then at other times, people have already worked through that, and they're in high vibe Gemini energy, and they're moving forward. And in high vibe, they're taking action from truth and love and balance and hope and faith and belief in their dreams. And sometimes some people don't ever move forward that way. They always move forward more from fear, insecurity, or pride, or ego, or jealousy, or envy, or pettiness, or self-centeredness, or lust and greed, And so, we're going to kind of cover the gamut. So figure, we all tap into Gemini energy. Gemini is a dualistic air sign energy, kind of about what we love and what we want to manifest. But there comes a point in time where we've got to kind of pick a path. When we're younger, who knows? That's probably what they call the South Node. If you were to do a astrological chart reading, go on the web browser, type in astrological chart. You type in your birthday, the time of day you were born, the city and state you were born in, and it will tell you where all the planets are. And I know the one I did, it's something like Astral Bee, something like that. Anyway, one of the planetary placements it tells you is your North Node. And in our South Node, we're learning all these lessons in life, maybe 30 to 40 years old. But then it's more with all the lessons that we've learned, kind of what our grand purpose is in life, if we were to be willing to learn the lessons and grow and mature ourselves. And then we go into our North Node. And some people are further along that path than other people. We've all got to learn lessons in life. We've all got to free ourselves from our more immature nature, self-centered nature, indulgent nature. Some people have more than others. So let's go look at what's going on. Well, I'm kind of laughing because the only card showing itself in the bottom row, when cards aren't showing themselves in shadowy energy, it can be that the people right now who are more aligned with their worldly or shadowy or self-centered nature, the only card showing itself is the star card. And, they have a dream of how they view life and what they think would be a great way to live life. It's either all about looking like a shining star in the world, and that's their most important goal in life of, they want people to look up to them, want people to admire them, for people to view them victorious and successful in some way. But love isn't the underlying reason for it. It's not like, oh my gosh, I want people to see what a loving, bold, brave, confident, talented person I am. It's more, the reason for their reading is the Page of Wands. So they kind of indulge their more immature nature, which could be self-centered and egotistical, shadowy Aquarius energy. The Page of Wands is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So it can just be people who are more motivated by themselves and the world and ego and image. But with it being the Page of Wands, I just say they're kind of immature and they got a lot of life lessons to learn. It's all about them. Like they could think, maybe they grew up with people who really indulge them in their ego. Maybe they grew up, if you present this certain way of being in the world and everybody views it this certain way, people want to be in relationships with you because you seem to have this image or persona. You're attractive, you're charming, you have power, you have clout, you have money, I don't know, whatever they think they got. And that then they think their dreams should come into reality. People should want to manifest with them, but they're just kind of immature people, and shadowy energy is more about trying to manipulate people to get them to do what you want in a relationship. Yeah, in tarot we have the pages and we have the knights and we have the kings and queens, and it goes up from there. These people just got a lot of life lessons to learn, kind of either really caught up in the things of the world, indulgence, materialism, or themselves. And then all these cards that aren't showing themselves, this probably could reflect all the high vibe people that were in their life that aren't in their life anymore because they saw the truth of these people. And also, they don't want people to know that they harness these energies in a shadowy way. And there's part of us. The Page of Wands can represent our more codependent energy. And that could be the case for some of the other people. Sorry, sometimes I go to the extremes of shadowy. There's a big range of shadowy. There's a big range of high vibe too. Normal folks trying to live their life, trying to treat other people the way they want to be treated, being just and fair, tempering their ego. And then we got like Mother Teresa and Jesus, So I can go to a little bit of the far end of shadow, but it can be just people who have a lot of life lessons learned because they're very codependent. And maybe don't love and believe in themselves and haven't worked on using, the pages can represent those gifts we were given from the divine so that we're not like an animal or like a computer. We have a creative, inspired, intuitive, emotional nature, We have our brain, we have our imagination, we have our creativity, but sometimes we haven't learned to believe and invested in them, or to believe that we can manifest our dreams into reality, because Gemini energy is about, if we believe we can manifest our dreams into reality, and we've learned to love and believe in ourselves, and we've cultivated and done work with our special unique ways of being, or if we're kind of still looking to other people like I have to work with other people in order to have some of these things that I dream of coming into reality. So we all could know that if we were in our more codependent energy, we could get in relationships with people who look very victorious and successful probably in the world. It's just that we might have to put up with someone who's, we can all get in relationships with people because we're on the same page, and we could have all been at that stage in life where we really haven't learned to love ourselves, haven't learned to believe in ourselves, have a lot of life lessons to learn. We get in relationships, we think a dream's going to come into reality, but then we have to be willing to do the work together. And the people who do have that hopeful, believing spirit, regardless, the reason for the top rose reading is the Tower card. We've all experienced things that didn't work out the way we expected. And then we can have some inner conflict. And do we, in our Page of Pentacles, are we still hopeful and believing that and listening to our intuition? Or do we kind of get caught up in our fear and our insecurity, and we align with our more worldly nature because we have these lessons to learn? Nothing wrong with having to learn lessons. We all got to learn lessons. And so then sometimes we haven't learned to love ourselves, which I think is the hardest lesson to learn, which is the Nine of Cups can talk about, or the Eight of Cups is going to the Nine of Cups. Investing in loving in ourselves to heal our own foundation of self, to deal with our own inner conflict and our past pain and heartbreak and our fears and our insecurities, to do that work, to love ourselves, to say, just because something didn't work out the way I had wanted it to, and even though it caused me inner conflict, and even though I wanted to be in a relationship with someone who, I had to walk away from, or they walked away, do I still believe in my dreams? And am I willing to love myself enough to keep moving forward in life? And sometimes we backslide, or sometimes we keep repeating an old pattern over and over, because I think the hardest lesson to learn is to be more emotionally independent of our more worldly, egoic, fearful nature. And we want to have our dreams come into reality. And if we think part of that is like, I have to be in a relationship, because a lot of us would like to be in a romantic relationship. But sometimes we get in relationships with people hoping for the best, even though maybe our intuition was telling us, I don't know, we seem a little mismatched, you know? But, you know, you can hope for the best, and life's about learning lessons of listening to our intuition. You know, we can always take on a project like, oh my gosh, they're immature. Oh my gosh, they're kind of prideful. Oh my gosh, they're kind of defensive. You know, all these things, but we do it anyway. And we got lessons to learn about listening to our intuition, because our intuition was given to us as a gift to help us navigate this life. But sometimes we don't listen to our intuition because we don't want to, because we want the things that we want. And we kind of think we're the boss and we can work it out and it'll all work out. And, you know, sometimes it does. Sometimes people do this work within each other, and together they do this work to both be, though they could have gotten in relationships because of some fears or insecurities or codependency, if they're both willing to love themselves, up here in the top row, because the Two of Wands is Aries energy and it can be about the self. So if we love ourselves, and each person does that within themselves to kind of, you know, not be so much in codependent energy, we can get in a relationship with people, but then do we, in that relationship, kind of learn to love ourselves and believe in ourselves and heal? And if both people are inspired by the same truth, the Knight of Swords is Gemini energy, then together, people both detach from a phase of life, even though they both might have some inner conflict about starting, like moving forward together in a new way. They're both willing to do that. And so there are some people that are in relationships that are doing that together. Some people already got out of what by worldly standards might have looked very wonderful, but they love themselves to believe in their dreams and realize there was something shadowy about this, that maybe the person you had tried to move forward with had to learn to love themselves. And they still have some lessons to learn, or they're more defensive of change, or more kind of immature and about themselves, or wanting to be in relationships where people indulge them in their ego or self-centered nature, or just had a different dream. Oh, we could all got in a relationship, but oh, your dream is more about the world. My dream is more about love. I'm not as motivated. My big thing isn't like everybody's got to look at me or notice me or keeping up with the Joneses and other people. That kind of can really drive them or consume them. And so some people could have already gotten out of kind of a mismatched relationship. If other people are in a mismatched relationship, there is the potential that they could come up here and do this work within themselves too. Some people already got out of those mismatched relationships because the reason for their reading is the Tower card. You know, some people already realized that where they were working or people they were hanging out with, that we're operating from two different foundations, and what you're motivated by and what I'm motivated by, and, you know, how you view things and how I view things is different. So even though I have mental conflict, I do believe in myself and believe in my dreams, and I'm not going to settle for a mismatched relationship. If you're not on the same page as me, I wish you peace, but I'm looking to the future. And then when we're moving forward, you know, we could kind of wonder, did I let go of some people in my life before that really were more on the same page as me, but because I had some lessons to learn too, I got in a relationship with someone? Because that's it. I think we're drawn and attracted to people because we have lessons to learn from them. And we could have rejected some people that maybe seemed to be more on the path we should have been in, but we weren't there yet. So then we could communicate with some people in our world that, hey, I've learned some lessons in life. I've learned how to love myself. I'm inspired. I've seen the truth. I've grown up. I've matured. I'm not as in codependent energy. I'm not as much about the world. Um, the pages can be too, since it's a child. We all grew up in families, and we could be used to kind of indulging other people in relationships instead of maybe feeling like we are used to being in relationships where people treat us with love and respect, and we kind of be in a more codependent energy. So some of you, it could have been that. But then as you move forward, you could communicate with some other people. And they might be people that you viewed. Well, I think the people in your life who are shadowy, but they just try to present themselves as being more high vibe than they are, who you might know are more about themselves and their ego, or repeating some way of viewing and acting and being in relationships with that you're done with. I think to those people you communicated your truth, but there could be some other people in your life that you thought maybe you are on the same page as me. Where are you at in your life? And I think you communicated your truth to some people that you view as harnessing high vibe Scorpio, high vibe Aries energy. People who you think are people who are motivated by love and are more bold and brave and like to be in deep, meaningful relationships. And you could have rejected and detached from some people that, well, and the high vibe people that you could have communicated with too, you think they harness high vibe Sagittarius and Gemini too. And yeah, this is Aries Scorpio energy also, the tower of being willing to detach from old ways of life, bold and brave enough to admit that maybe I got some lessons to learn, maybe I need to look at life from a higher perspective, maybe I need to heal. People who you think are willing to detach from old ways of viewing life to give birth to really doing what motivates and inspires them, instead of shadowy energy just kind of so caught up in the illusion of the world and the ego and the image. It's like, is it really aligned with your truth? Is it really what you love? Or is it making your life about the world, or indulging someone because you don't believe in yourself, or someone indulging you because they don't believe in themselves? Is that really living the life of your dreams? And you also communicated your truth to the people you think harnessed these energies in a shadowy way, that they are kind of more superficial and shallow and motivated more by the world or by themselves. And it could have been a real shock when some of you, if you did communicate to some people your truth, might have made them see the truth, because that's kind of what the Tower card's about. Some of the people that you told you were leaving, that could have been a shock. So the lightning bolts, like, boom, we are not operating from the same foundation. Because if you want to build a stable foundation, people should be acting in truth and love and justice and fairness, and acting with character and integrity. And some people think they don't have to be just and fair. Some people don't think they have to be authentic and loving and warm, that you'll just stay in a relationship with them anyway. Or they're prideful or egotistical and think the scales of justice should be tipped in their favor. And so I think the people that told people, bye, I harness this in a high vibe way. High vibe, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. And you harness maybe what I feel is a more immature way of viewing life. If you want to make your life about yourself or the world, go for it. I'm motivated and inspired by love, and I believe in my dreams, and life's an adventure. Thank you for the lessons I learned. I didn't know because we can all be naive and gullible. We think we get in relationships with people, and if you're a loving, nurturing person and you love them, why wouldn't they choose love? But for some people, love is like, oh my God, I love this person, I gotta leave. I'm at risk of being hurt. And some people, they haven't cultivated a very stable foundation within themselves to believe in pursuing their dreams, because if they don't have a very strong foundation within themselves, it's always maybe this fear that, what if it doesn't work out and I wouldn't be able to pick myself up again? So, we're either more bold and brave to be more authentic and loving and vulnerable, or we're not, and we all do. It makes us feel more safe and secure and stable at any period of time. You might have been in relationships with some people who did something quite immature or not conducive to a healthy relationship, and that was like boom. And for some people that are in a mismatched relationship, if their person one more time does something immature, prideful, egotistical, self-centered, this could be the day. That's it. When it's kind of like the rapture in the Bible. It's like a thief that comes in the night. You know, we never know when people are going to be, that's it, I'm done. I used to kind of indulge you in your more emotionally shallow, bossy, controlling, immature ways of being, but no more. In my Gemini energy, I'm speaking my truth. And sometimes that's why we get in these mismatched relationships, because maybe before we were people who had learned to love ourselves. This whole process made us start to think, do I love myself? Do I believe in myself? Does this make me happy? Am I more aligned with my worldly nature? Do I like feeling codependent? And if we do this work to love ourselves and be inspired to work through our inner conflict, get out of some of our fears and insecurities and ego, to see that maybe I did have lessons learned. Maybe I did have healing and growing to do that I didn't even know I needed to do, but you did it. And then you became more emotionally independent of your more worldly, codependent, shadowy nature. And you saw through the illusion of what was holding you back from really living your authentic life. And I'm sure if people were in relationships and friendships with people or workplaces, they were trying to inspire the people they were in relationship with to do the inner work within themselves too, to work with, can't we move forward a little more just and fair way, a little more inspired way, and kind of step out of our comfort zone a little bit and face their fears or insecurities, and maybe deal with why they have inner conflict of doing, just adding to their foundation of how they view life, expanding their perception of how they view life, how they view relationships, and maybe willing to go to the next level, maybe a more deep, meaningful relationship, and making it more than just the world. It's like, what about the dreams that we had? What motivates and inspires you? What really, if you could do anything you want, what would you do? And, from a place of loving yourself and believing in yourself and your unique talents, skills, and interests. And, and eventually, if the other people keep nope, bye, I'm good, I'm happy right here. Eventually we can only ignore the truth for so long. And though we can love people, though we wish they would move forward with us in a more hopeful, believing, just, fair, balanced way, we can't make other people detach, because that's what the Tower card is, detaching from some old ways of viewing life and old ways of living life, and some of the things maybe that we used to think was living the dream and realizing it really wasn't. Because eventually, life force energy is about listening to your intuition, where it's like, I think it's time to do things differently. I've done it this way for a long time. It's time to, from a place of love, I'm ready to move forward in life differently. We could have done this for the last Friday nights for the last 5 years. And, I'd really rather do something else now. It's kind of starting to get where it's bothering me. The Tower card is like, I don't know what it is. So I did this work to figure out what is it that I find emotionally fulfilling? What is it that I would like to pursue in my life? And there's a time and a phase for everything, and then some people are ready to move on and some people aren't. But if any of you were with some bossy, controlling, or people who never thought you would stand up for yourself and love yourself, that could have been a real shock. And then some other people in your life might have been really shocked too. And then if you communicated with some people about what was going on in your life, that could have been a shock. And some of those people do want to move forward with you. And it's like, oh shit, things are changing. And I want to be part of the change. I agree with you. I think there's things that need to change. People get so caught up in the world or the ego or the image or just getting in relationships because of the ego or the image or wanting to have sexual relationships because the fire sign energy can reference that. That it's like, and it's about loving yourself and believing in yourself and getting balanced within yourself because the fives can talk about change, but it also means being balanced because we can be way too caught up with the Knight of Wands and the Five of Wands, we can be way too caught up in certain things that kind of tip us out of balance. What is it that you think will make you happy that you indulge in? For some people, it's drugs or alcohol, food, gambling, ego, image, money, and there's just not balance there, And when we're balanced, and we're not tipped out of balance and kind of driving in the ditch, either enabling poor behavior in ourselves and others, and everybody kind of gets back on the road of life in a more balanced way that, yes, there are these things of the world that I would like and to have and involve myself in, but I do want to go about it in truth and love and justice and fairness. And part of that is that I have to speak my truth. I need to treat people in truth and love. I need to get out of my ego of thinking I should be indulged in a relationship or that it's okay for me to constantly be the one who's giving and the other one is taking. What about justice? What about fairness? What about just quit not doing? Shadowy energy can get to be stagnant, dead energy. There's nothing new to learn here. Same old shit, day in, day out. Are we gonna move forward in life so we can learn the next lessons in life? Are you willing to detach from some of your fears, your insecurities, or your bossy or controlling or immature or egotistical ways of being so we can move forward in life? And some people aren't willing to detach from those things. They could have other people in their life, because we do. Whatever we align with within ourselves, we probably have people in our life that are loving and encouraging and want us to go to our full potential. But then we could have other people in our life who don't want us to do that, and they want us to keep living life the way we live it. Because then we probably wouldn't invest as much time, energy, and effort in them if we have kind of are ready to go to the next phase of life, and if they're not. And we just kind of live our life differently. Again, we're motivated and inspired by different things. And again, with the Knight of Wands and then the Nine of Cups, some people could be codependent on, whatever it is they're codependent on. It could be their emotionally shallow, defensive, self-centered nature. It makes them feel safe from being hurt. So they're not willing to emotionally detach from that aspect within themselves that makes them feel safe. There could also then have people in their life that they're kind of codependent on for their feelings of emotional stability or security or a certain image or status, and they're not willing to walk away from that and be more emotionally independent. So they could have a lot of things that manipulate them and people in their life and the world at large that manipulates them, keeps them more in their worldly, egoic, or immature nature, and other people aren't manipulated by those things or those people that they could have in their life. They might manipulate you. The whole world might manipulate you, especially if you're just someone who lives from ego or your self-protective nature that you don't let your more inner child nature ever come out to play in the world because they could get hurt. Well, what is life if I can't go enjoy life and be authentically myself in the world and you want to hide behind your ego and wear a false mask? And you think the way to go about it is, I don't know, maybe indulging someone else or someone else indulging you because of your looks or your money or your power or your status or whatever the hell. What about living your authentic life? And some of the people you could have communicated with, it could have really been a shock that you detach from some foundation or have grown up or have matured or looking at life differently. And if those are people that are free to move forward with you in a relationship, I think as you keep moving forward, you know, they might be kind of like, oh my gosh, do I dare do that? I'm going to have to detach from some things. I won't be able to be immature in the relationship. Oops, got an alarm on my phone. It's kind of like, if I don't reach out to you, because I'm kind of looking at the Page of Pentacles here, and it's kind of like bringing an offer into the 3D world. If I don't make you an offer, will you come to me? You might have a certain way of viewing life, and I kind of do life like this. And some of you, you communicated your truth and you moved on. You know, are you coming or are you... Ah! Wow. The scales of justice. So that can kind of, you know, everything that happens in a reading happens for a purpose. That some people are just really realizing the truth that you're not going to chase anybody. You communicated your truth. If they're on the same page as that and motivated and inspired to live their life that way, they can come on along with. If not, you're not chasing anybody. And some people in the Tower card are just beginning to see the truth. It's like, because again, some of these people are like, here I am. Hey. Look at me. I have these things of the world, or I think I'm attractive or charming or whatever. Aren't you going to chase me if I don't? And it's kind of like, if you spoke your truth once, why do you have to speak your truth again? Okay, it's up to you to decide what you're going to do now. And some of those people were like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Now I'd have to speak my truth. I'd have to detach from some things. It wouldn't be about me. Maybe if I don't bring it into the 3D and I kind of sit here watching and waiting, hey, maybe they'll approach me again or reach out to me again. And that could be an indicator to them that you have inner conflict about moving forward and being more emotionally independent and believing in your dreams. So it's like, oh, okay, so we're going to do it my way, like this. And it's like, if I've already been in a relationship with like that, and that's not how I want to live my life, that's why some people are like, no, I've spoken my truth. Now it's up to you to come with or not. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to cry, blah, 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 blah. You're either on the same page or you're not. And that's what some people could be realizing. It's like, shit. And it's kind of like their own Knight of Wands coming back and saying, I think they're standing in their truth. I think they're moving forward with or without us. And then for some of those people, they're just realizing that you're gone. And if they had inner conflict about kind of humbling themselves to tell you they want to come with, or reaching out to see if you would stay and do it the way they want, they see you're moving on. And some of them are like, shit. If I want to go with, I better change. The Page of Pentacles is like Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. I better change if I find this person, someone who I think is independent, I could have an emotionally fulfilling relationship with, likes deep, meaningful relationships, is bold and brave, is inspired by love, looks at life as an adventure to be lived, and I want to do that, then I better change kind of how I harness my earth sign energy of what I view as victorious. They'd even have to change their whole philosophy of life to be more aligned with having some hope, or tap into that, to be willing to be a student of life. That's what the Page of Pentacles is about. Are you willing to be a student of life? Are you willing to not let your more ego nature or fear nature or whatever, are you willing to look at life as an adventure to be lived, and if your intuition is telling you you should detach from some old ways of being, then let's go live the life of our dreams. I would say if people aren't, they're seeing you're moving forward with or without them. Okay, let's go look at the bottom row of all the things that are being hid. Okay, so we start out with these two cards, the Moon card and the Eight of Pentacles. Some people hide their all about the world in their Virgo energy that we all tap into. It's more about putting in work and effort to look like you're king of the world. Look at the status and the image and the money and materialism I have. Or I'm willing to put in work and effort to work with someone else who has those things. Or I want other people to work with me because they view me as having those things. And that's how some people want to be in a relationship, because they want to maybe be in relationships with people who aren't very independent, who aren't bold and brave and confident, who aren't a student of life. I kind of want you to make your life all about me, or I'll make my life all about you. Because I want those things of the world, or you should do that with me because you want those things of the world. You're not going to do inner work to heal and grow and mature yourself, are you? And right now, if some people are in a new relationship that are kind of shadowy, right now they're kind of using their intuition in a shadowy way to figure out if they think the person that they could be in a relationship with, do I think this person has any interest in kind of doing the inner work to free themselves from the things that manipulate them? Or are they going to stay kind of codependent forever and be willing to work with me to stay in a relationship with me because it looks great and good and it looks like we got it going on? Or can I manipulate them because I want those things? And will I be able to hide the truth from them that I'm not in the relationship for love, I'm just kind of indulging them, or I want them to indulge me, and the people who they previously have been in relationships with, listen to their intuition, they did do the inner work, and those people quit working with them. But because some of these people want these things of the world more than love, they weren't willing to move forward with those people, and now they're seeing the truth that those people have moved on and they're investing in other people. It's like, you mean you're not tempted by these things or my looks or my power or whatever I got? You're more grown and matured than me and you did do the work? Damn. And they could be hiding from the people they're currently in a relationship that, gee, I really love that person and being in a relationship with them because they were loving and warm and encouraging, but they kind of grew and matured and healed, and I just couldn't fake that next level of life like I had grown and matured and healed too when I can't. Because you can't move forward in life unless you're willing to see the truth about and willing to face your fears and willing to step out of your comfort zone to move forward in life differently. So the truth sets us free, and some people are still caught up in the illusion of the world and the things of the world that they want to indulge in, and love isn't the priority in their life. They're more inspired by these things of the world. So let's go look at these next. Nine of Cups, the Lover's card, the Queen of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and the Four of Swords. Sometimes we don't even know we have things we need to heal from. We'll repeat a pattern over and over and over, and it's trying to get us to see, trying to get us clear about our truth. We come together with all these different people because the truth sets us free. Is this really what your dreams are? Is this really what is aligned with your truth? And we have to go through these life experiences to get clear about what our truth is. And because some people weren't being authentic and truthful in a relationship, that could have seemed look very successful and could have been very successful and move forward successfully. It's just that people harness these energies differently. The high vibe people were doing the work to become emotionally independent, and they wanted to become more emotionally independent of making life all about ego and image or indulging someone. They wanted to do love in Gemini energy. They wanted everyone to emotionally grow up and mature themselves, because the queens can talk about how we think and feel. And they wanted everybody to be more balanced and live a more balanced life and be in a more balanced relationship where, we acknowledge we have our shadow nature. We have our loving, intuitive nature. And some people even deny they have a shadow nature. Don't want to admit it. We've all got our shadow nature. And what about being more balanced about it? How about we acknowledge we have a shadow nature, but we don't try to hide it and just operate like we're this picture perfect person who never makes any mistakes. And when something comes up that kind of reveals, oh, did I do something kind of immature or out of fear or insecurity or egotism or self-centeredness, you do some work. You have to put in work and effort to free yourself. And that's, the Eight of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. You have to invest time, energy, and effort. You can't just... If you want to quit taking action that's kind of more immature or fearful or insecure or egotistical or self-centered or defensive, people just even have to be inspired to want to change. And that's right under the Tower is the Five of Wands, which the fives represent change. Like, boom, wow, you changed. And it's the Wands, which is fiery energy. You were inspired to change. And other people aren't inspired to change. But the other people were. So they did invest the time, energy, and effort to reflect on their past pain and heartbreak, their fears, their insecurities, because they didn't want to carry that baggage around anymore. And the other people just carry it all around forever. They don't deal with it. It's like in their ego, like, no, I don't got to deal with it. It's over. It's done. It happened. I don't have to deal with it. But it affects how they live their life. They're defensive of speaking the truth. They're defensive of fighting and standing up for themselves and believing in themselves and believing in their dreams in a healthy way. They might think that this is being healthy. I'm all about myself. It's like, yeah, too much so. It's imbalanced. It's all about you. What about love? Get out of your ego. Quit. Grow up. You are not the center of the fucking universe. If you want to be the center of the fucking universe, stay single. If you want to work together with people in a relationship, do not wear your false mask of that you're ready to move forward in life and that you've healed and grown and matured, and that none of that's true. You just want to maybe get in a relationship to indulge yourself, or get in a relationship because it looks like your dreams came into reality and you're just indulging yourself until the other people see the damn truth of you. There's karma for that, and it's nothing to be proud of. And that's kind of what sometimes immature people do. Well, I think it's just all about indulging me, male or female. I'm lazy, I'm prideful, I'm egotistical. I think people should indulge me. It's like, well, you're probably going to have relationships with people. It's unstable. That is the reason for the high vibe reading, is they probably got tired of being in an unstable foundation, not built on truth and love and justice and fairness and character and integrity. And eventually people do work through their mental conflict, and eventually they say, I'm leaving. And sometimes these other people are just shocked because they were happy in the relationship. Wow, look, I got this. If it's work, wow, look, I got these people who are talented and mature and maintain balance within themselves, and they tolerate me and my egotism. Gee, I thought they'd think this was just and fair to stay here at this job, even though I act in these immature, petty, prideful, egotistical, stubborn ways of being. I thought because of the money or the status or the image, they'd never leave. Even people who have good jobs eventually tell people to screw off. I cannot stay here. Because you never grow up. You never temper your ego. You never temper your more immature nature. And if it's romantic relationships, they were having a great time being in a relationship. It worked for them. It was good for their ego and their status and image. And if they had someone who also was being nurturing and loving and trying to maintain balance in the relationship with them, when they don't really put in work and effort to maintain balance in the relationship and they don't really invest in it, and the other person kept trying to heal the situation. It's like, damn, this works for me. I'm gonna tell everybody else, no thanks, I got this going on. This works for me. But what they didn't realize is that the other people were doing this work within themselves. Yeah, they could have loved this person, wanted this to move forward or stay and keep going. But it gets exhausting. It's like someone holding out their cups saying, give to me, and you give and you give and you give and you give, but they never take what you give them, love, encouragement, justice, fairness. They never take any of that in within themselves, and they keep being like, I'm entitled to this. You should just give me this. At which time people decide to love themselves. They pick up their investment in those people. They decide to heal themselves. And the people who already saw the truth and healed moved on. They don't want other people to know that. That was a great relationship. I really liked that relationship. They were just and fair and balanced and nurturing and loving. And I gotta be this way. And for a long time, they didn't see the truth that I wasn't on the same page as them. And then one day they did. Or one day they just said, that's it. That's the last time. I'm done. And they left. And when they left, I could have spoken my truth. I could have went with them. But I said, no, you can go. I'm not willing to harness high vibe Aries energy of the Two of Wands and the King of Wands to deal with my regrets of the past that maybe make me act like this to begin with. So I keep repeating this old pattern, never healing, never growing, never maturing, never looking at life from a higher perspective. I might not even want to do love. I'm all about myself, or I'm all about the world and ego and image. And you learn to love yourself to go on a new journey. And you picked up all your sticks and you left. And now you're holding back from them. And you're taking the lessons that you learned about dealing with people like this, that you don't want to keep dealing with people who are like that. And you invested in loving yourself and believing in your dreams. And you're inspired to stand up for what you believe in. And I'm detaching from people who don't want to move forward with me in a more emotionally independent, hopeful, believing way. If you want to keep repeating living your life like this, you can go find someone else to go live your life with. And some of those people could be in new relationships, and they're doing the same thing with that person. Indulging themselves in a relationship with someone who's willing to invest time, energy, and effort into them, or who has money and they're willing to indulge them, and they're just trying to maintain their balance the best they can to keep telling themselves this is just and fair. This will make me happy. It's just and fair for me to live my life like this. I'm the star, or I should be the star. People should indulge me, or people should indulge people who have money and status and power. There's no such thing as love, or I don't want to do love, or I don't trust love. I'll just create an illusion this is everything I ever wanted. So, what's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Gemini energy? And some of you have gotten a new relationship. Some of you could be getting in a new relationship. And that could be a shock to some people. Some people were indulging in their ego, like, yeah, you go ahead. I bet you'll be sad. I bet you'll come on back. You'll feel overwhelmed. You'll be back, because they always give up. Whatever manipulates them keeps manipulating them, and they never free themselves from it. They never work through their mental conflict about, even though there is things in their life that they probably like to move away from, because the Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords, which is can be causing a lot of mental conflict and inner conflict. But they have inner conflict about seeing the truth. People that are in shadowy energy could have had other people in their life who kind of kept distance from them emotionally. They didn't work together with them cooperatively. But for some of those people, they don't just ever want to deal with it. And acknowledge that maybe some of the people that they viewed as emotional wish fulfillment at one time, even if that was their parents, that maybe they were kind of egotistical or materialistic or stubborn or prideful or bossy or controlling. So then they don't want to trust anybody, but it's kind of not listening to their intuition and seeing the truth that not everybody's like that. And if you were to differentiate between people, oh, this person is prideful and egotistical, I'm not going to be around someone who's prideful and egotistical, because I've already been around people who are like that. But some of these people, because they could have really looked up and admired those people, some of them could have been dealing with an Aquarius or a mother figure, or, people who live their life and this is how they lived life and it looked really victorious and successful. And so shadowy energy can be like, I just want to follow this template. That's how they did life. That's how I'm going to do life. Because if I were going to live my own life, I couldn't just mimic and copy the template that they laid down for me. And I'd have to listen, kind of take action on my own dreams. And for some people, it's like, I've never really taken action on my own dreams. Maybe they grew up with people who are kind of controlling. You're not supposed to speak your truth. You're not supposed to have your own inspirations. You're supposed to make your life all about living life like this. And they never really invested in thinking about how they really wanted to live life or listening to their intuition. And again, could have had people in their life who discouraged them from listening to their intuition. But those are all things they need to figure out. Those might be things all of you are intuitive about them, but until they see the truth of it and deal with their inner conflict about just seeing the truth, why don't I take more bold, brave, confident action? Is it because relationships didn't work out in the past? Was I a fool for people who weren't very loving and nurturing, but I've rejected all people when I picked people who were more prideful or egotistical or bossy or controlling? How about I just don't get in relationships with people who are bossy and controlling and prideful and egotistical? How about I wrap my brain around this game of life, which is what Sagittarius energy is about. Not everyone's the same. Odds are 50% of the people are more aligned with their loving, intuitive, acting just and fair nature. And maybe 50% of the people are kind of more tipped into their shadowy nature, and the bulk of the people might be kind of waffling back and forth. But it would require them to hold back from indulging themselves in their more immature nature, maybe to feel better or to indulge their ego. And some of them never get out of that. So what's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Gemini energy that they might not see coming up? And then some people here, they decided, I don't want high vibe Aries energy also in the Two of Wands and the King of Wands would be where people have to grow up And they also, if they're in relationships with other people, when their decisions affect other people, they should make decisions that are best for everyone involved. But shadowy Aries energy that anyone can harness and align with, it's kind of more about them and indulging their more immature ego nature. And some of them have decided, I'm willing to forego love. I might have had some wonderful, loving people in my life, but it requires me to do this work, and it requires me to detach and deal with my inner conflict and all this stuff, and I don't want to do any of it. So I think I'm just going to go indulge myself in the world. They create an illusion. They want to work together to bring a dream into reality. And then they indulge themselves in relationships with people who maybe think they're going to bring the dream into reality, like marry them, male or female. And then this person just juggles the truth about what's just and fair and juggles it within themselves. And if the other people are kind of communicating with them like, come on, I thought we were detaching from this old thing to move forward. I thought we were going to bring this dream into reality. And it's like, so you want to move forward indulging in a more stable, grounded, balanced, loving relationship, and I could just let you go and I could keep indulging my more immature nature in the world and just go get in a different relationship with someone. And for now, that could be going on in a relationship and somebody's seeing the truth now. It's like, oh my gosh, you just want to indulge yourself in the world. You were never really wanting to bring this dream into reality, or you're still hung up on someone else, or, and if the people who are in the relationship with those people deal with the truth of it, not let it throw them out of balance, that it's like, okay, I learned a valuable lesson about people in the world, and I'm taking that lesson with me, and I'm going to keep moving forward, loving and believing myself. See ya. The Ten of Swords, because of the Six of Cups. You work through a whole cycle of thought, because it's really hard to detach from people. We are emotionally complex human beings, but you're finishing a cycle to come out with the truth, and that's you with the Knight of Swords. I am not going to stay in relationships with people who want to repeat some pattern of relationship where people are maybe living more from their mind than their heart. I don't want to be in relationships with people who are emotionally shallow and superficial, shadowy Scorpio energy. I view the Six of Cups and the Queen of Cups as Scorpio energy. I want to be in balanced relationships where we do let our more hopeful, believing inner children out. We harness high vibe Scorpio energy, willing to do the highs and lows of life emotionally. Want, to really experience this life and know that everything I go invest in won't work out the way I think. I'll take the lessons I was meant to learn from it, to know who to work with in relationships and who not to. And the high vibe people, there's some people in their life they do not want to work with anymore. And there's some people they would be willing to work with because they could realize they all had lessons to learn. And they don't want to end that. And that's the Tower moment. I do think you've grown up and matured yourself. I do think you've healed. And if you have, then we can be friends again and move forward. But if not, or you want to do it in this old way where it's kind of more about you, I've already been in those kind of relationships. It's supposed to be about equal give and take. It's about love. Stepping outside your comfort zone, letting love and intuition guide your decisions, not your fear, not your insecurity. And if that's not where you're at, I wish you peace. And I think you're ready to move forward. And if people aren't coming towards you to move forward with you, then peace. I hope it works out for you. And some people could be shocked because, like, you're not gonna keep chasing me or try to chase me. I'm kind of used to people chasing me. Shit. I gotta get out of whatever I gotta get out of if I want to move forward with that person. And I think the high vibe people are moving forward with or without people. What's coming up for the more shadowy people or worldly focus that they might not see coming? The Queen of Wands, because of the Six of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. What they're shocked by is people who harness this energy in a high vibe way, because they harness it in a shadowy way. They operate from their ego. They take action in their life out of ego. And then they could get themselves in some situations that they don't even really want to move forward in, but because they want to look like the shining star or just want to have their needs met or something, or their ego boosted, male or female, they get themselves in these situations and then they don't really know if they even really want to be in it. Or they just get in relationships and just juggle people and don't really invest in them. And then even if they ever do think of moving, well, then they kind of juggle back and forth and, oh, I don't know, am I bold and brave, blah, and then they go back and do what they have done in the past. So they thought that's what some other people would do. They thought they'd be in their ego, and this did look probably victorious and successful in a lot of ways. And some other people said, I love myself and I have a dream, and just staying in something because of my ego or my fear or my insecurity or my codependent nature, I'm not going to do it anymore. And I'm picking up my investment in something I had invested in, which was my more worldly, egoic view of life or codependent nature. And I've gotten balanced within myself. In high vibe energy, I chose to love myself, to get out of my ego, to believe in myself and maintain balance within myself. And I'm not going to invest in people who aren't on the same page as me. And that is something some people never expected some people to do. I can't believe, like, you've moved on. You don't want to invest in me anymore. You're not still juggling, going back and forth. One of the bulk of the people in the world kind of going back and forth, kind of willing to settle for less than you deserve because you want some of those things in the world. And it's like, no, I pick Team A, high vibe Gemini. It's either love or bust, character, integrity, justice, fairness, or people can be my friend. Another thing they might not see coming is there is someone who does want to be in a relationship with them. They might present themselves as kind of maybe, I'm not sure what they'd have to present themselves as, kind of somewhere in between on their Leo energy, maybe like, oh, I'm loving and warm and encouraging, and I'm kind of aligned with my worldly nature, and I'm willing to balance things out with you or try to maintain balance, so we'll both maybe juggle. And then, or they might have someone who come in their life that wants them to pick up their investment in the past again to move forward, and they're still juggling. Some of these people are kind of full of themselves, and there could be someone that they feel like if they were to be in a relationship with that person, it would be like, oh my gosh, that would be like my dream come true. But from a shadowy viewpoint, either they're codependent and like, oh my gosh, trying to recreate some way of living life, and if they were in a relationship with that person could live their life that way too, and that's how they really want to live their life, and they can't quite find anybody else who seems to live their life that way like they and this other person, so they really want to be in a relationship with that person, or that person really has the things of the world that they want, and they're defensive because they keep thinking that person will let go of whatever they're moving forward with and tell them they want to be back in a relationship with them. And some of those people are in denial of the truth that those people have moved on. That they're still because that can be shadowy energy, kind of living in illusion, kind of living in fantasy land, and not seeing the truth. Either the person they want to be in a relationship with just created an illusion with them. The whole thing is we listen to your truth, I guess, whatever that is. And some people are just looking for someone that's willing to kind of create this illusion with them. And if they can find someone who's willing to do the illusion, they will. If that means they feel like they're missing an opportunity in love, oh well. They're more inspired by the world and the things of the world. And they're willing to invest in people who have those things, or they think other people are overwhelmed about status or image, and those people will come get in a relationship with them. And they could just be kind of social climbing, trying to find out, well, what do you got? Well, what do you wear? What do you look like? What's your stats? And just trying to grab the biggest bag they can, in a way. So there you go, Gemini energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.